Okay, so part 2 of this polynomial review. So we're going to be talking about the distributive property first in this note. So the distributive property is used whenever we have brackets, basically. So you can see here I have A times B plus C in brackets. This means that this A must be distributed to everything in the bracket. So A times B, which is AB, plus A times C, which is AC. Now, the example underneath is the exact same, except the bracket got a little bit bigger. So I'm going to take this A and I'm going to distribute it with everything in the bracket. So A times X plus A times Y plus A times Z. Now again, for those of you that don't love general form, I am going to be going through some examples with you. So 3 examples here. We have to expand and simplify all of these. So we're going to expand first. So this first one, I have to distribute this -4 in everything in this bracket. So -4 times 2a, which is -8a, and then -4 times 3, which is -12. The next thing that I'm going to do is distribute this negative sign into both of these terms in the brackets here. So negative, I can imagine a 1. -1 times 6a is -6a, and then -1 times -1, which is +1. So I've expanded. Now I get to do the simplifying part. The simplifying part is where I combine my like terms. I've got a -8a and a -6a, which is going to give me -14a. And then I have a -12 plus 1, which is going to give me -11. Moving on to example B, I have a 2 out front of this bracket, so I'm going to distribute it to everything inside of this bracket. So 2 times y squared, 2 times -2, 2 times 3. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to distribute this -3y with everything inside of this bracket. Again, please note that I am including the negative sign in here, okay? This negative sign or this subtraction sign belongs with this 3y. So -3y times 2y. So -3 times 2 is -6. Y times y is y squared. And then -3 times 1 is just -3y. All right, combining these like terms. 2y squared minus 6y squared is a -4y squared. -4y, take away 3y is a -7y. And then last, I just have this 1 plus 6. All right, this last example, I'm going to rewrite this 3x and this +4. There's nothing really going on with these, but I do have this -2, and then I see a square bracket. That's my first sign that I'm probably not going to touch this yet, okay? So I'm going to keep this square bracket here. What I am going to do is I'm going to simplify the inside of this square bracket. So I have this -5 that needs to get multiplied into this 2x and this +1. So this is going to simplify to be a -10x, subtract 5, and then I'm just going to keep this -2. I have a couple of options. I can simplify this bracket a little bit, and I think that's what I'm going to do, just kind of tidy it up a little bit, I guess. So I'll rewrite my 3x plus 4, subtract 2, square bracket. I'm going to rewrite my 10x, and then I can combine this -5 and this -2 to make a -7. That just kind of tidies it up a little bit. All right, at this point, I am going to take this -2 and multiply by everything inside of that bracket. So 3x plus 4, -2 times -10x is a plus 20x, and then -2 times -7 is a plus 14. And then combining like terms, I've got a 3x and a plus 20x. So a plus 23x. I don't know why I wrote that plus there. It doesn't need to be there. It's not wrong if you write it, but we don't need to. And then I have a plus 4 and a plus 14, which is going to give me a plus 18. All right, and the last part of this note is when we have FOIL. So we're going to use FOIL, which stands for first, outside, inside, last, whenever we have two brackets being multiplied. So just remember, the distributive property is when we have a single term being multiplied by a bracket, and we're going to use this FOIL when we have two brackets being multiplied. So I personally don't even think about FOIL. I like to just draw what I call rainbows. If you want to think about FOIL, that's totally fine. So I'm going to multiply the first numbers in these brackets. So the A times the C. And then I need to multiply that A by the D as well. So plus AD. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the second term in this first bracket. So the B is getting multiplied by the C, and then that B is getting multiplied by the D as well. Now, normally when we have numbers, we can go one step further and we can simplify a little bit. Since I have these letters here, I can't go any further. And again, I know that general form confuses a lot of people, so we will do some examples shortly. The exact same thing is going to happen with this next example. This next example is a little bit trickier because I have two terms in the first bracket and three terms in the second. This is why I don't really think about FOIL, because it doesn't really make sense, like for an example like this, once we get out of the two terms and the two terms. So I'm just going to continue drawing my rainbows. So A needs to get multiplied by the X. And then the A is going to get multiplied by the Y, and then the A is going to get multiplied by the Z. And then the B is going to get multiplied by the X, and then the B is going to get multiplied by the Y, and then the B is going to get multiplied by the Z. And again, I can't really simplify any further than this, but we will be able to once we get into some examples. All right, so I've got a couple of examples here for us. I'm going to do the first one first, 2x plus 3 times 4x minus 5. So this 2x needs to get multiplied by both terms in the second bracket. So 2x times 4x is 8x squared. And then 2x times negative 5, which is negative 10x. And then I'll use a different color here. The 3 is going to multiply by both terms in the second bracket. So 3 times 4x, which is 12x. And then 3 times negative 5, so negative 15. Oops, I forgot the x there. So I've expanded. I can simplify a little bit. So when I look at this, I have a negative 10x and a positive 12x. So I can combine those. 8x squared is my only x squared. Negative 12x plus, or negative 10x plus 12x is a positive 2x. And then negative 15 is by itself. All right, so for this last example that I'm going to be doing with you, there's a couple of different ways that we could do this. We could use the distributive property first, and we could multiply this 3 in to the x and to the minus 4. I cannot bring it into both sets of brackets, though. That would be wrong. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do FOIL with these two brackets first. So I'm going to leave the 3 here. I'm going to open up a set of brackets, and then I'm going to just expand these two brackets. So x times x, which is x squared, x times 2, which is 2x, negative 4 times x, which is negative 4x, and then negative 4 times 2, which is negative 8. I'm going to close that bracket up because that's the end of what is being multiplied by this 3 right here. It's being multiplied by all of this. And now I'm going to take care of this part. So one important thing that I want to mention, I need to keep this minus sign, but when I have 2x plus 3 squared, I cannot just simply square this term and square this term. It does not work like that. Even though I'm saying it, I guarantee there's going to be a few of you that still do that. But please do not do that. That is not correct. So I'm going to rewrite this the way that it should be rewritten. So 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3. And then we can FOIL that out on the next line. So in this next line, I'm going to just keep expanding. So I'm going to combine a couple of like terms. I see a plus 2x and a minus 4x here. So I will rewrite my 3, rewrite my x squared. 2x take away 4x is a negative 2x. So I've just combined those guys. And now I'm going to expand this. So I kept my minus sign. I'm going to keep an open bracket. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. 3 times 2x is 6x. And then 3 times 3 is 9. I'm going to go ahead and simplify that last bracket a little bit again too. So I'm keeping my 4x squared, and then I can combine this 6x and this 6x to get me 12x plus 9. So just to remind you, if I would have just squared the 2x and squared the 3, I would have got this 4x squared and this 9. I would have been missing this middle term. So please do not do that. You must write it out like this and use our real FOIL rules. All right, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to distribute this 3 into every single thing inside of this bracket. So 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times negative 2x is negative 6x. And then 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with this minus sign. Remember, this is an imaginary 1. I'm going to bring this negative into every term in this bracket. So a negative 4x squared and a negative 12x and a negative 9. And now I can combine my like terms. I've got 3x squared minus 4x squared, which is going to give me a negative 1x squared. Again, I don't need to write that 1 there, but I am for you. Negative 6x and negative 12x, which is giving me a negative 18x. And then a negative 24 take away 9, which is going to give me a negative 33.